Hi students, on this extra DQ, which is like your actual DQ, except a little bit more realistic and a little bit more complicated, we want to do the following. So written up in the upper left corner is the instructions, or at least the story here. So it asks how long will it take to pay off $2,000 on a credit card if you're paying the minimum payment, and the minimum is the maximum of either 2% or $25, right? So whichever one of those is higher, you have to pay that. In this case, the credit card has an 18% APR compounded monthly, and you want to find out how long it takes to pay it off and how much you end up paying for that $2,000, assuming you don't put anything else on the card. Okay, and the period here is going to be a month. So, so if you wanted to change this to bi-monthly periods or something like that, you could do that. You know, every 2 weeks. So you can modify this, putting your own parameters in here, perhaps for your own card to see what the actual result would be. So the first part of the instructions are to just fill in these things that ask for numbers, right, with the numbers given above. Okay, so the APR here, and to format it correctly. Okay, so the APR here is 18%, so we want to put a percent sign after there to make that a percent. The starting balance was 2,000. Okay, and then I want to go format that as money by clicking that. Okay. And the number of periods per year, well, we're doing monthly compounding. I didn't say that, but I should have. And we're paying monthly. Okay, so that's 12. And this doesn't need any zeros after it, so there we go. It's an integer. And the minimum payment is the max of 2% of the balance, or $25, right? So like that. Okay, so again, I format that as money there. Actually, you know what? I like formatting this not as accounting but as currency. So let me do that for both these. Just my own personal preference. Okay, so the rest we want to enter formulas, and even maybe here for the periods, these are supposed to be months. So you really have two options. You could just, and we don't know how long this is going to take, right? So I have a lot of cells already colored in gold, but if you need more, you can add those at the end. There's two ways to do this. I can type 1 and 2. Okay, and again, I'd like those without decimal places. Okay, then I can sort of grab those two things and just drag these down, and it'll fill out a bunch of stuff like that. Okay, so that's one option you have here. Another option would, whoops, sorry, let me try this again. Let me grab these. Okay. Another option here would be actually to use a formula here. So I'm going to do that. That's kind of like what you had to do in the DQ. So I'm going to put a 1 here. Okay. We got to start off somewhere. All right. And then here I'm just going to say equals to, well, the cell above me plus 1. All right. So I'm just going to add 1, each time. Okay. All right. And I want to use references to this stuff up here for these numbers so that we can change these numbers up here and get, new calculations here. All right, so for the current balance, I'm going to say equals to that. That's where we're going to start. That's our starting balance, okay? And the rules up here say that we're going to make the payment before any interest has been charged. So we're going to make the payment at the beginning of a period, okay? So my payment here is going to be equal to, okay? So let me do two things. Okay, so it's literally, it says the max. Okay, so I'm going to use this max formula. And I'm going to say 2% times the balance, which is right there, right? Or 25, and again, I'm going to use the cell reference there, 25, right? So it'll be that, okay? And then so this is one thing. I'll change this in just a minute, and I'll show you why. And then the balance after, right, is going to be just equal to my current balance minus the payment that I have, okay? And then the interest we will pay will be equal to, so it's going to be the balance after the payment, because we're charging the interest after the payment's been made, times not the full 18% interest, but the 18%, the part of the 18% that's due this month, so 1/12 of that 18%, or due this period, right? So if you change this to bi-weekly or something, you would change that 12. Okay, so we have that. And I want this to be formatted as money. Somehow this one did it automatically, but that one didn't. Okay, good. Oh, in here, right? I want that one formatted as money. Okay. Okay. All right, this is pretty good. We could almost drag these down, but not quite. So, to use the autocomplete, right? But here, right, what I want to do is I want to, what is my new balance? What's going to be the sum of what I had owed plus the interest. So this is going to be equal to this plus that, okay? And then the rest, I could almost just pull this down and fill it out, but when I do that, so if I look at this formula, it refers to these things up here, and if I were to just copy this down, right, it's going to change those values. So I don't really want that to happen. This B19, I do want to change that to B20, but these other two, I want them to stay B12, so I put the little dollar sign there. I want this one to stay B13, so I put the little dollar sign there. Same thing over here. No, actually this one's fine, because here I just say subtract those two things to my left, okay? And then this one here we want to be careful about. It says take this one here, which is D19, but then these two numbers here need to not change as we copy and paste or drag, however you want to think about this. Okay, so now I can take these and I can pull these down like that. Okay, now I've got formulas in all of these places, and these formulas work fine. You can see if I go down one more, yeah, it does what it's supposed to do. And you can sort of check, right? Look at the formulas and see that they're doing the right thing. Okay, and now we can just pull this whole thing down for a long way. We don't know how far to go. Oh, I got to go a little bit further, but not too much. Oh, no, actually a bit further. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, yeah. All right. I still owe some. Okay, so it's going to take us a while to pay off this loan, this credit card. Okay, whoops. Now see here I ended up with these negative values, right? So I've gone too far. In the first place I went too far, if we look here, right here, right? So the next amount I owed right here was 16.03. And so I wouldn't actually pay that 25, right? I would just pay 16.03, right? So you would actually stop right there. So if we wanted to, we could go and erase all of this stuff down here. Okay. You could be a little slicker than this. We know that when we get to a place where the payment's less than 25, we don't want to make that payment. So I could here actually in this formula put the min of the max, so the payment I would usually make, or the balance if the balance turns out to be less than that other number, right? So I sort of like that formulation, because then I don't get all those funny negative numbers. I just pay that last little bit and get a 0. So let me copy this down. Let's see how this fills out. I think actually, let me just see if this works. If I highlight that and just double click, I think that'll do everything. There you go. Yeah, and you see now it says just to pay the 1603 at the end. And you know, if I had gone too far here, oops, I have a funny mouse thing I'm using, so it's all right. I would just get a bunch of zeros, right? It wouldn't do anything strange to me. Okay. So anyway, that's what you're supposed to do. Okay, for this thing, and we finally paid it off after 179 periods. Okay, and so the question up here is, how many years is that? Now we could find years and months. Maybe that would be a fun thing to do. But here I'm just going to say let's just calculate equals to, and now here we are having to do this by hand. I mean, there is a way of doing this without doing it by hand, but we're just going to do it by hand, this part. So that's going to be that 179 there, divided by 12, right? Maybe I'll do the years and months. Well, let's actually do that just for the fun of it. But okay, I'll do that on the side. So this is 14.92 years, so almost 15 years, right? And how much do we actually pay? So that's going to be the sum, right, of all the payments we made. So that's a lot of payments. There we go. All right. Okay, so we will have paid $5,085 for that $2,000 that we were trying to pay off, right? That's not a good deal, is it? Okay, here, just for the fun of it, just let's get this into years and months. So I have 14 years, right? So let me see where that cell reference was, A197. So I could do this. I could say take, so let's say years. I mean, okay, so I know it's 14. If I could type, and then months. Right, so here I'm going to take equal to A190, well, okay, sorry. Here I'm going to take, yeah, I'm just going to type in 14. This is just for the fun of it anyway, so 14. So I just want to subtract off how many months, right? So this was equal to 197, sorry, A197, that was the cell reference, times 12. Sorry, A197 minus 14 times 12. There are better ways of doing this, but anyway. Okay, so we have 14 years and 11 months. That's how long it takes us to pay this off. Anyway, that's what you're supposed to do for this thing. And then if you have your own debt, you're thinking about paying minimum payments off, this is a fun thing you could play with. Okay, so have fun with this. Thanks.